at the altar, and I was weeping, and I didn't really know what was wrong with me. I had put on the face, and I had fully convinced myself that I was okay. I had fully convinced myself I have it all together. I'm fine. I'm going to go to college. I was going to go to the University of Arkansas. I was going to cheer up there. I had it all planned out, same as Austin, but my plans were not the Lord's plans. I came here, and I felt a seed plant when I was at camp. There was something in me, and I knew I was going to come back. I didn't know if it meant I was going to come back next summer for camp, or if I was going to live here, or if I was, like, something was going to happen. But I came to camp, seed was planted in me. I was under Josh Bennett for a full week, and that man is like a spiritual father to me. He changed my life. I go home, and I tell my mom everything, and my mother is actually the opposite of Austin's. My mom wanted me to go to Applied Life so bad. She was begging me. She's like, Savannah, you can't go to college. This is a bad idea. I feel it. It's like, no, I know what I want to do. I want to be a teacher. And to be a teacher in today's society, like, you have to have a degree. I can't be around the kids without going to a woke college and getting a degree and learning all the things that they need me to learn to speak to these kids. So I knew if I wanted to be a teacher, I had to go to college. I can't even tell you how it happened. I ended up not going to college. I caved, I guess, and I ended up coming to Leaders Academy. And within the first 2 weeks, Paul told me I was coming back for a second year. And I said, yes, sir. But I came my first year. I got a really amazing foundation. I got to work in our kids department. I was actually under Jason and Sydney, and I was their only intern. So it was super intentional. It was just me and them every single day. And I remember the first day of track, I walked into Jason's office, and there was a quote on his wall, and it said, be who you needed when you were younger. And that was the first thing I saw when I walked in his office. It was right up there on the wall. And I was like, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. That's why I want to work with kids. And I also just love kids. Their energy and their joy is so contagious. And I have the energy of a toddler. I really do. I can run around a room and not get tired. It's exhausting. I exhaust myself sometimes. But it's great. It's great. And I loved getting to work with Jason because he was the same way I was. He is so energetic, and he was so out there, and he knew how to talk to people. He could make friends with a brick wall. And I was learning so much from him and from Sydney. And I learned at Leaders Academy, Paul helped me with my time management because it was terrible. I couldn't get anywhere on time. I slept. I had a terrible habit of just falling asleep and not waking up. And I can remember one time I slept through track, and I woke up to Jason and Paul standing in my room over my bed looking at me. And I thought, this is it. I'm done. I'm getting kicked out. It was a nightmare for a second. But being under Jason every single day, having that intentional mentorship, I never understood what a mentor was until I came here. But I learned not only is he instilling in me, but I have to seek my mentors out to be instilled in. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. But if the horse will drink, you'll stand there with it. Yeah. And Jason and Sydney and Paul and Josh and Miss Hetty and Cassie Bradshaw back there, they led me to water, and they waited for me to start drinking. And when I started, they stayed there with me, and they've stayed there with me ever since then. And I came back for my second year. My second year was a little rough. I went home for 3 months. I got back into some really unhealthy habits. I knew what I was doing, but I got back into those habits, and I came back, and they took care of that real quick. Paul wiped those. You're not doing that. Nope, you're not doing that. I got to be put in a position of leadership in the dorms because I was a second year and there were a lot of younger people coming in under me. I was put in a position I had never been in before, where I had to step up and lead, and I had to realize it's not just little kids that are following me now, it's also older kids, it's people my age who don't know what they're doing. I've been here for a year, I know what I'm doing. And I remember there was one chapel, and this is when I knew I was moving here. We were in the student center over there, and I was on my knees, and I had been praying to the Lord. I had felt his presence, I felt the goosebumps, but I wanted to be baptized in the Holy Spirit so bad. And I wanted to feel that fire for the first time. And I was actually on my knees, and Sydney came up behind me and got down on the floor with me. And she started praying over me. And my prayer language immediately started coming out, and I was hit. I was hit, and I was marked. And the seed that had been planted so many years ago started to spring roots, and there were roots going deep, and I knew the roots were here. I knew I wasn't going anywhere. I knew I was never leaving. And so, I fast forward, I still wanted to be a teacher. I still wanted to work with little kids, but I knew that the positions on staff here were filled. But another thing I learned at Leaders Academy is the Lord does not bless idle hands. So you have to be doing something. I have to be furthering my education in some area. So another thing I was good at, I loved cosmetology. So I graduated my second year and I went to cosmetology school. But I stayed faithful. I lived an hour and a half away with my parents. But I still drove here to church every Wednesday. I would work in our kids department still. I would work with our youth group. I would go to school in Little Rock. I was back and forth all over the place, but I knew I was going to end up here. And finally, last year, I graduated, got my license. I was working in a salon, and I was miserable. I couldn't stand it. The culture today, it's just, I wasn't surrounded by the community that I have here, and I could feel it weighing on me. And so I came to our principal, Miss Stacy, one day, and I just walked into her office, and I said, "Can I just take out trash? Can I clean toilets? I will come during PE hours. I just want to hang out with the kids. I only see them once a week." And she shut our office door and she said, "Actually, I just had a position open up a week ago. Would you want to come work? You can start work after Christmas." I went and put in my 2 weeks the next day. I was like, "Yes, I'll be here." I quit my job at the salon and I've been here ever since, and I have loved every second of it. We have an amazing school here. And the Lord's promises have just been fulfilled, and His mercy and His grace have just been flowing over my entire life and my whole story. Because I wouldn't be able to work with kids if I worked anywhere else. Because I didn't go to college. I don't have the degrees that they're wanting you to have nowadays, but I do have the love for them. I do. I have the joy and the love and the patience, which is tested every single day, to work with these kids. I work with Katie through 12th grade, so I'm with our junior high kids for half of my day. I teach elementary art. I do elementary PE. I teach junior high typing, which I don't know how Austin does it all the time. I genuinely don't. And then I work with our high schoolers in the afternoons, and I get to be everywhere. I get to be with everyone. And I remember during Leaders Academy, I walked in, and I actually met Cassie Bradshaw's nephew. And he was the first kid I met. And he looked at me and he told me that I was not allowed to leave till he graduated. I had to be at his senior night. And I looked at him and I said, "Okay." And he's graduating this year. And I'm on staff. The Lord is all over this ministry. He is all over this campus. He is all over the staff here. And if you have kids 18 to 25, I highly encourage you to get them here. This summer, Austin and I will both be on staff at High Point. He is on administrative staff. I am a senior counselor. I'm actually going to Belize this summer too to work High Point there, to work their camp there. I'm thrilled. And if you have young people who need to encounter the Lord, this is the place to bring them. Drag them here. Make them come. I promise you, we will make them love it, and they will never want to leave. They will be here like we are. Thank y'all so much.